simple. This is a technique derived from the technique for making the queen cells to raise queen honeybees in. But there you just dip a dowel and make a cup on the outside, and you're controlling the inside diameter. The purpose of this exercise is to have a half-inch outside diameter, letting a little bit of degree of freedom exist on the inside diameter. I'm going to get my lid out because I need somewhere to put the straps, so it's going to be. Because all we want is the tube. We don't want the sides of this carton that is formed. Now, as you'll see, part of it's going around my fingers. Looks kind of like thrusters on the space shuttle. So what we need is a sharp razor blade. The purpose of the razor blade is to take the carton apart before removing it from the wood. So we go once down this margin. You don't have to go right on the margin if you don't want to. Once down that margin. Actually, I wish I hadn't misplaced my single edge razor. So a double edge works well too. Once down that margin. And once down this margin. And this whole thing comes apart quite neatly. Okay, first thing you do is separate your fingers. And that helps take one side down. Then you take the other side down. Now, if the sides don't come off on this one, you just separate the wood. Okay, the top coming off helps. That side, let's see where I put my lid, my metal lid on it. Okay, this side comes off. As you can see, it starts looking very much like the Hubble telescope with its solar panels. And what we want is the actual tube of the telescope itself. Now, as a mnemonic, I'm going to put this thing so that the upside is toward the right here, because I'm going to really need that mnemonic when putting this together again. Okay, so there's my Hubble telescope up there, you see. And what I have to do is get this tube. There's enough tube here for 3 or 4 cups. Now, in order to, I know it looks pretty, but we have to destroy this. As an expedient, I'll take the solar panels off just manually. Sorry to destroy such a nice object of beauty, but if you want Carpenter bean-esque, you have to do weird things. So the first step is to cut this. You still shooting?
It's fine, yeah, I'm just moving it.
Okay, I'm just cutting the end off here. I'm rotating this slightly so it goes around rather than all the way through. It's gentler that way. Don't be afraid to take too much off the end. Now this end tends to be a little thinner and weaker, so you don't mind taking a bit longer end off the end of that. Okay. And now we're going to go for, I think, 3 cups out of this. It's better to have air on the long side than the short side. Now after I've separated these 3, I'm going to go up for 16 of them. And there's no need to shoot the whole operation, it's just a repeat of what I'm doing here. And then we'll come back with you when it's time to put the base on. See, there's 3 perfect little tubes. You just get positioned here for future reference, and then we're going to go for the next 13 or so of them. Okay, we can cut now. Okay, just rolling. Okay, we're going to pour the base. It goes in 2 layers, one to form the base and the other to seal it. Now, it has to go pretty quickly because the wax starts to harden pretty fast. Now, that's just about half full. Just enough to cover it. And it's going to leave that now till it reaches temperature, till it reaches solid coloring. In other words, it'll very, very quickly, as it's doing right now, the color of solid wax, though it'll be quite soft. At which time it will be time to deposit the tubes. Here. Okay, I guess we can cut till it's a...
Okay, rolling.
I try to put them in streets and avenues so the score lines can go in between them in single strokes. The trick is to space them widely enough that one can get pretty wide spacing between them. Of course, the bases will end up a little bit too big that way, so they have to be pared down later. But the trick is to do it in such a way that one doesn't accidentally damage them while doing it. So unfortunately, we didn't completely cover the bottom. There's a little hole, so that may limit the one less position here. Well, this is the tricky part, laying them down in neat streets and avenues. And of course, some of them were cut diagonally at an angle by accident, so those can't be placed in that position. That's why I turned that one around. Now, these are not being held down. They're very frail at the moment, so the second pouring will fix these in position more permanently. I've lost count of how many there are, but it doesn't really matter as long as I use most of them. I think I have room for 2 more, and that's it. Might go for a 3rd one. Yeah, I can fit them all. Now I'm going to put the second pouring on. And then when that hardens, we'll do the scoring. You gotta be careful not to knock them over when you do this. That's it. If the wax were too hot, it would melt them and they'd fall over. They might tilt. One of them is doing from the melting. Just a matter of waiting for that to solidify. I might have overheated the second pouring. The only thing to do now is wait for that to turn solid color, and then putting the score lines on is the next stage. Okay, now it's just a matter of waiting. I don't know if you want to take a picture of it, liquid and solid or whatever.
Rolling.
Yeah. Sorry, yes, sorry. Okay, there's Sean about to do the cutting, sorry. Let me zoom out. There he is. There's his position. Okay, there we're zooming in on the target. Now he's going to cut the score lines in like streets and avenues between buildings. Okay. You go all the way from edge to edge if you can. You got to do it quickly. When we're done, we'll take a close-up of it to show the lines themselves. That's it?
Yep, each one has its little individual block.
Now let's take a look from the top. I guess the scratches will show. Okay, it's like an aerial view of a city. Okay, cut.
Rolling.
Okay, we're now going to take the specimen out of the freezer. It's been in the freezer for the last 2.5 hours, and for an hour and a half it's been cooling at room temperatures. This is the first cooling